What's going on, everyone? Sean Taggy here. Today, I'm going to be discussing briefly our tenant screening process. So what we're doing on our end to make sure these tenants are set up for success and the investor is set up for success when they get into the property. So first off, with our tenant screening process, we've been doing this for years, for decades. We have screened, tens of thousands of tenants. We currently manage 2,900 doors, and most of our tenants in there are being successful and able to pay rent. So here's the thing or two that we've learned from our tenant screening process and refined over the years. And we are even refining as of today in current months and keeping up with different changes that are going on. So first off is we comply with all fair housing laws, right? You want to make sure we're sticking in the law, being fair, screening everyone the same way, and complying with the laws and the tenant landlord laws locally and federally. First thing we do is we do a background check on people. Now, in that background check, we're looking for major things recently, especially like drugs, guns, and violent crimes, making sure the tenant will be a good law-abiding citizen, and they typically tend to pay their rent. The other thing we do is a credit check. So we're looking to verify their debt-to-income ratio because the credit check does show how much they are paying a month for their car loans and what their credit card minimum payments are. So that helps us kind of assess if that tenant is capable of paying. And we also check their previous rental history on that credit check to make sure they're paying. Some landlords do report that. We are doing an employment verification. So we are going to get 2 of their past pay stubs and just make sure those are correct pay stubs. One thing that we've been catching over the years is that some tenants will forge their pay stub. Yes, there are websites. We're familiar with what the typical templates of the forged pay stubs look like. Just someone trying to get in and be a squatter. And we know the things to catch that they typically miss in the details, like they have sequential numbers on the paychecks and other things that they take out. So we're familiar and actually catch on that. It happens rarely, but it is something we are familiar with. So if we see a red flag on that, we will ask to call their employer directly and other things like that to verify that. And also, we've seen the pay stubs of what the major employers give, like FedEx and Nike, so we're familiar what the typical correct unforged ones look like it as well. We are checking their income, so we make sure they have a net monthly income of 3 times the monthly rent. So that is different than gross monthly income. So for example, gross monthly income would be I gross $3,000 a month, so I can rent a $1,000 a month rental. But instead, what we do and what makes us unique than other people is, let me pull up my calculator here. So let's say they make gross $3,000 a month, okay? But after taxes and everything that's taken out in their paychecks, they make $2,500. Okay, so $2,500 divided by 3, so they could only afford an $825, $833 a month rent. So that we feel is one way for us to just set them up for success better, or make sure that's after. So net is after they pay taxes, child support, and other things that they have due on their pay stub. We just feel that helps set them up for success, and in the long run is better to do. So we do that equally with everyone and sets us apart from other management companies. So references, we're going to check their references, their 3 references they give us, and follow up on their employers and other people they put on there. Then another thing unique about us is we have the tenants do a monthly budget. So we have a template that has common items like food, groceries, entertainment, any child sports teams or child, clothing and other things like that. And we have them do a budget, and it's amazing. It's the first time people have done a budget in their life sometimes. And what we find out is, oh, wow, Will, you're actually going to make negative $100 a month. Maybe you should rent, a little bit cheaper now. Let's bump you down from $1,000 a month to $700, $750, or $800. Okay, so that's a real good thing that we do, and we're trying to train people on how to set that budget and stick to it. So we're checking their rental history, make sure what the cost was of their previous rental, and that they had on-time payments. We're collecting a security deposit in almost every single scenario, at least a 1 month's rent security deposit. Another big one as of recent, there was a big lawsuit that happened, and a owner of a property went into a lawsuit with a dog that actually killed someone. and the jury was in favor of the person who died. So it was, I think, of millions of dollars that was charged onto the owner and the management company. So we actually have a very certain criteria of pets and dog breeds that are allowed. And if they fit our breed, we charge a $300 non-refundable pet deposit. And we also comply with, if it's a therapy animal, we make sure that's done the right way, that they get a therapist letter and things like that. But then even with that, we have rules under their dogs. And if we hear any nuisance or complaints from neighbors or anything like that, we will send a warning, and we have a system for if they don't comply with the way of caring for their dog and having a leash and keeping them in the yard. That is one way we can also protect our owners from that. We charge an application fee. We charge $50 per an applicant for every person over 18. And we get names of everyone, all their kids and everyone living in the property, because what we do not want is a boyfriend they come up with, a couple months after they move in is living there, and that causes issues. So we want everyone that's going to be living there, so it's not over occupying the property and other things like that. We also check for a rent shock. So if someone is renting at $700 a month and then they qualify, but they're trying to bump up to $1,000 or $1,200 a month rent, we will be wary of that, to really vet them real hard on that, and potentially have them put down 2 months, first month's rent security deposits, or talk them down to renting maybe a little more affordable of a property. Even though they qualify, it might be too much of a shock. Also, we're checking if they're previously evicted. If they were evicted over 4 years ago, we're going to put them in the property, but we're going to require a double security deposit. And then case-by-case basis on all of that. So that is our tenant screening process. We hope to set the owners up for success and the tenants up for success, so that payments are made, everyone's happy, they're living within their means, the owner's getting their monthly rent. So that's what we do. We feel like we go above and beyond to try to put in a tenant that is successful. And thank you so much, everyone. Check us out. Please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be putting out more videos for you later on. Thank you.